Welcome everybody to Pseudo Short number 14, 15? I forget what we just said.
My God, you're already starting well. Hi, I'm Kyle Hoagland. It's short number 15.
Short number 15. Yeah, I don't know why all of a sudden I was thinking 14.
The funny thing is, literally asked me to like a minute ago.
I sure did. We are off to a stellar start. It is August 4th, 2017. I will get the date right. I am Josh Kiser, and I'm joined by Kyle Hoagland, or just Kyle Hoagland, as I like to say, because once again, no Josh Haddix.
I feel like at this point it's going to be the Pseudo Nerd podcast with Josh Kiser and Kyle Hoagland with special guest appearances by you know how sometimes like when you watch Family Matters and like some Aunt Una from Altoona shows up like once every 4 episodes. Like right. I feel like she Haddix is now our Aunt Una from Altoona.
There you have it. And it's unfortunate because this week, or today's short, we're going to be talking about the Major League Baseball. It's kind of our mid-season review, and if there's one person that wishes he was here for that, it's Josh Haddix and all of his baseball analysis that comes with it. So,
yeah, he's kicking himself for sure.
I'm sorry, PNPers, you're going to miss out on our top analyst for baseball, but you know what? Kyle and I are here, and we're going to just kind of jump right into it. And I thought it'd be fun this time around, since it is a short, to look at basically, I went back and listened to our Major League Baseball preview show, which feel free to go back and listen to in the archives.
With our infinite wisdom, I'm sure.
Well, right. So I thought with the infinite wisdom, we would kind of go through, discuss who our picks were, the division winners, things like that, kind of see where those teams are at this point, and discuss maybe anything that is pertinent with those particular teams. So without further ado, let's just get right into it. And we'll start out in the NL West. For those of you who may or may not remember, at the time in the NL West, myself and Haddix both picked the Dodgers to take the division. Hougie, you did not. I'm just going to throw that out there because the Dodgers right now are playing some damn good baseball. They are 74-31 as of our recording. A solid 14 games lead in the division. And on top of that, they made some trades. So they are all in this year.
Yeah, they're ready to go. I think, who did I pick? Did I say the Diamondbacks?
You did. So in fairness to
they are
you,
second. A distant second.
Before we get into the Diamondbacks, I just want to say the Dodgers playing some of the best baseball in the majors, and they also traded at the deadline. I mean, like probably as close to the deadline as you can get. They got Yu Darvish too from the Rangers. So big addition for that team that was already pretty stacked and playing well. So they look like some early favorites going on.
Absolutely, and I've been watching them a little bit. I think they've been. I wouldn't say they're a surprise. I think they're surprised is how good they've been. I think they were supposed to be good.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I mean,
they've been nasty.
I mean, Haddix and I picked them to win the division, so obviously we saw the talent there. You saw where they were last year, but they've really come together well this year. I think better than anybody expected. But to your point,
to have a win percentage of over 70%, that's unheard of. That's insane. Like, it's one of those things where there's got to be a point where they're going to fall off a little bit. But I mean, we're more than halfway done with the season. They have basically like a 70.5% winning percentage. Like, I mean, usually people win the division, being somewhere maybe in like the 0.58, 0.6, but not 0.7. Right. That's insane.
Yeah. So to your point, Kyle, you did pick the Diamondbacks to win the division. I believe it was kind of your bold prediction. I believe even at the time when we were talking about, you thought they could be good. You thought them and the Rockies actually could be good, but you picked the Diamondbacks as your bold prediction. To be fair, the Diamondback and the Rockies are basically neck and neck there, both with 60 wins, and which it would be good for.
They'd be good for wild cards. They'd be the two wild cards right now.
They would be the two wild card teams right now, right? So, you weren't wrong there. And actually, at one point, I tried to bully you into the Giants. You said no. You actually thought the Giants might struggle this year, and the struggle they have. Unlike myself, who picked them to kind of be in contention anyways for the division, and they did not. In fact, they have one of the worst records in the majors right now.
I feel like their age is now showing, and they're a good team, but they couldn't get off on the right foot, and I just feel like with the injury to Baumgartner, and then their starting lineup has just been their starting rotation's been a big mess, even though they have a bunch of really high profile people, but it's just nothing seems to be working right for them right now.
And I don't know if it's coincidental or not, but I'm just going to say you were on the Giants bandwagon for years. All of a sudden they started sucking this year, and you moved home to Cleveland. So I don't know if I'm not saying that you jumped the bandwagon and left San Francisco, but I'm also exactly saying that.
So I will just go ahead and just err on the side of coincidence. But I mean, what am I like the Kyrie Irving now but again, that's allegedly, we don't know what's going on. Totally different sport as well.
That's a whole other issue. But let's move on to the NL East, where all three of us picked the Nationals to win the division. And right now, with a 14-game lead in that division, are the Nationals. So kudos around. So once in a while we do get it right.
I mean, the rest. I think we also picked them because we just felt like the rest of the other teams are just lackluster. I think all the rest of them are under 500, and with really showing no signs of making any kind of push for the playoffs. So I don't think this was a hard one to predict.
Well, to be fair, I jotted down some other notes that we discussed at that point. I thought the Mets would give them a fight. Haddix agreed to that. They have not. They're, again, sitting right there. Pretty much the Mets, Marlins, and Braves are all neck and neck, but to your point, they're under 500 and not looking all that great. You did say that you thought this was going to be a close division. If you take the Nationals out, you're right in that aspect. But you did say don't sleep on the Marlins. They'll fight the Nationals in September for that playoff spot. So unless the Marlins turn things around, I don't see them fighting for that spot in September. But I
agree.
All that said, I think we all think the Nationals were going to take the division, and that looks pretty solid. So we had that part right. Not much else I think worth discussing with those teams at this time, unless there's anything you want to add about that division.
No, not really. I mean, like I said, the Marlins could go hot. That was we all knew going into the East, the Nationals were going to be talent wise and just the team in general and the experience that they have with each other. They definitely were the best team in the East. But once again, it's baseball. I mean, people get hot and cold. Everything goes through cycles. So, you never know. There's a lot. I'm sure we'll talk about other teams that we thought were supposed to do well, and they just became complete disappointments. And I know if we're sticking with the NL, the Central is actually a pretty big idea of that too, to be honest. Yeah.
The Nationals, it's worth noting they made some trades and beefed up that bullpen. So they're looking for October, and I think it's a fair bet for them. We move into the Central. We all picked the Cubs to win the Central, and right now the Cubs are leading the Central. That said, they don't have a big lead by any means. I mean, the Pirates, who are fourth in the division, are only 5.5 games out. Which you look at those other divisions, and we were saying 14 games for the second place team. I personally thought the Cardinals would keep it close. They're 4.5 games back. They're right around 500. I mean, to be fair, the Cubs are not nearly as dominant this year as maybe some people thought they would be. They're still playing all right. They're playing good, but not dominant. I did say the Brewers would be last place, and right now the Brewers are playing pretty good. They're 2.5 out from the Central, and they're right there in the wild card hunt. So I was wrong on the Brewers call there. Haddix said the Cubs, and it wouldn't be close to win the division. He also said the Reds would finish in last in the division, which he is correct on that assessment. The Reds are playing some bad baseball this year. And Kyle, you thought the Cardinals could be a wild card team, and you had the Cubs winning the division by 7 or 8 games, which, when it all is said and done, could very well be the case. So I think we kind of, for the most part, have the Central down. I think maybe the Brewers being the biggest surprise in that division.
Well, I think the biggest surprise we had was that if we were going to pick any of these divisions to have a 14-game lead, we actually probably thought it might have been the Cubs.
I agree.
The fact that, let's put it in the perspective here, the Reds, who are in dead last in the Central, are just as much of a chance to get into to take the division as anybody else in the other divisions who are in second place. So
that's fair. But the difference there is just dominance at the top with the Nationals and Dodgers. So, I mean, it's just the Cubs are playing okay baseball and the Nationals and Dodgers are playing at another level right now.
And I think the surprise is, once again, I think we thought that the Brewers, Cardinals, Pirates would be probably where they're at, somewhere like just dancing around 500, and then the Cubs would be in your 600 percentile type of thing, kind of like where the Nationals are. But because they're also playing they're only 8 games above 500, so I think that's the surprising thing, is that yes, the Cubs are in first place, but I mean any of the the true analysts, the Josh Haddixes of the world, would look at this team and say that with the talent that they had and that whatever, they should have much more than a 2.5 game lead.
Yeah, definitely. That said, let's move over to the American League, and we'll move right into the AL West. This is where my bold prediction came in. I picked the Mariners to take this division. You and Haddix both said the Astros, which I said I couldn't argue with because I had them right there, but I thought the Mariners might surprise some people. And to be fair, the Mariners, they're right there in second place. The Astros, though, playing some dominant baseball.
I just have to laugh about that just because you said they're right there, being 16 games back.
Hey, you know what? They are right there in second place as far as anyone cares in the standings.
They would get the silver medal of the AL West.
That is correct. It may have been 16 games behind, and again, another case of where the Astros are playing phenomenal baseball, right up there with the Dodgers for pushing 70 wins.
The Reds statistically have a better chance of beating the Cubs than the Mariners taking the Astros.
Fair enough.
I'll defer that you're right about second place, though.
Hey, the Mariners are playing better baseball than the Reds, though, in all fairness.
Yeah, I can go with that, I suppose.
But I did say the Rangers would fall off, and I said they'd go into the middle of the pack. I guess they're in the middle of the pack, but they're falling off, I think, even harder than some people thought. And like I said, they're trading away a bunch of people, and I would just like to throw out Jonathan Lucroy. If you guys have listened to any of the baseball podcasts in the past, I've given my less than stellar support of him, the way he snubbed Cleveland last year. How does it feel to be at the Rangers? And now he just got traded for a player to be named later to the Rockies. So suck it, Jonathan Lucroy. Yet again. Karma is a bitch, and I love it.
Damn. I'll be on the other side of that. I'll be the good cop that says, we wish you luck in your future endeavors, Mr. Lucroy.
Well, you say that anyways. Haddix, though, felt better about those Rangers and actually had them and the Astros fighting for the division. Like I said, he stuck with the Astros, though, as his winner. And Kyle, you have the Astros winning 90 to 92 games and winning the division. Yeah, I mean, I think you're going to be a little low on that. I think they could hit, 97, 98 or something to that effect. But
I never like to be the one that says that someone's going to win 100 games. So that's always like a tough thing. So
no, I
92 was a conservative guess.
No, I completely understand that. But I'm just saying the Astros are playing so well that I think that's going to be a little short of where they're going to end up. But, it is what it is. That said, let's move to the AL East. This is where things get a little interesting. And this is the first time that all three of us are wrong. And that's we all picked the Red Sox to win the division. Now, to be fair, the Yankees are division leaders by half a game. And the Red Sox are right there with them. So,
so how much wrong are we at this point?
By the time this podcast releases on Friday, there's a chance the Red Sox will be back in first place and we're back on top with our picks. That said, it's a pretty tight race. I think we thought it was going to be a tight race. I personally said that I thought the Yankees would finish around 500. I thought the Orioles would be right there fighting for a wild card, and I thought the Rays would be done this year. The Rays are fighting right there. They're 4.5 back from the Yankees, so they're right in the thick of it. The Orioles
once again better off than the Mariners, who so far Kiser's been hyping for getting second place in the West.
Hey, to be fair, I just said they'd be right there, and they're kind of right there. They are closer to the wild card, though, I will say, as opposed to winning the division. Let's be honest. Haddix said it wouldn't be close, and the Red Sox would take the division. Well, it's going to be close unless something crazy happens in the next 2 months. And you said, you of course, Hougie, went with the don't sleep on the Orioles. Which of course that's not looking quite so hot now. But anything can happen. All those 4 teams, the Yankees, Red Sox, Rays, and Orioles, things could change a lot between now and September. So. We'll have to see where things go from there, but I think the biggest thing here is just how far the Blue Jays have fallen. They started slow, and I think some people thought they might turn it around. They've not. They're sitting at the bottom of the East, and I think that's where they're going to finish up. And I don't know if you got anything you want to add about them or the AL East, Kyle.
I mean, it's kind of surprising that the Blue Jays are at the bottom, but I don't know. It's weird. I mean, that their team for the most part is still there. I mean, yeah, they didn't re-sign Edwin Encarnacion, but other than that, I mean, they've got 2 MVP caliber players on that team. Their pitching is. I mean, when their pitching is on, it's on. It just seems like they can't seem to get on a good run per se, and they're just really bad away from home too. It's bad enough. Usually, the thing that the Blue Jays rely on is they usually have a pretty stellar home record, and then their away record is you take it for what it is. But they're playing 500 baseball at home, and you're not going to get anywhere in the postseason if you're only 500 at home.
Yeah, agree. And speaking of not good at home, let's move over to the Central, where the Indians had not been good at home until a recent homestand where they were very good at home. And they are currently leading the division, as we all predicted they would. But I think that's where our predictions kind of fall a little bit here in the Central, because we all thought it would be the Indians and the Tigers. And I said I thought the Royals were about to blow up. Well, they did, but in a good way, as they went on a 9-game winning streak at the same time the Indians did. And they're keeping right there in the thick of this division hunt, 2 games behind the Tribe. Well, meanwhile, those Tigers are continuing to fall, and actually they were sellers during the trade deadline. They traded J.D. Martinez out to Arizona, and I believe Melky Cabrera got traded to the Royals, in fact. That wasn't them. That was he on the White Sox, wasn't he?
I think the Melky's still on the White Sox.
Well, no, he got traded to the Royals.
Right. But I'm saying he didn't get traded from the Tigers.
No, correct. Right. But yeah, so there was. It looks like it's a 2-man show with the Indians and the Royals. The Twins they fought there for a while, leading kind of leading the division. But I think just the inexperience there is starting to show with the Twins, and they're going to kind of fall down. And the White Sox, we weren't expecting anything out of the White Sox this year, and that's pretty much what we've gotten. But you and Haddix both said 95-plus wins for the Tribe. Don't know if they're going to hit that number. That one's going to be tough to do. But we all have.
Well, as high as they've been, here's the thing about the Indians the last couple of years is that they're not one to go 2 out of 3 and then maybe 2 out of 3, 2 out of 3, 2 out of 3. They're the type of team that will lose 4 in a row, win 10 in a row, lose 5 in a row, win, then go 6 out of 8. They're a very streaky team, and that right now they've won 8 of their last 2, and it's a good thing too. Like you said, the Royals and Indians basically have been matching blow for blow by the past 10 games. And that's probably the only reason why we're still above the Royals, that we got hot at a time where we really needed to, which is almost unfortunate, because usually if you go on a 9-game winning streak, you would think that you would increase your lead in your division. When in this case, we barely held on to our 2-game lead.
Well, I mean, you look at the Royals. They went on a 9-game winning streak and they lost half a game. So that's even a worse situation. But they both played good ball at the same time. But it is what it is. And the Indians did acquire Joe Smith at a trade deadline. Like I said, the Royals made a couple moves. I know they got Melky Cabrera.
Joe Smith, the same one we used to have?
Correct. Yeah.
The side armor?
He's going to be back to help work in that in the bullpen for us. It was kind of
we already have like the best bullpen in the majors too. And now we got him too.
Joe helps. It's going to help give some relief to Cody Allen too, so he's not going to have to pitch all the time.
Get it? Relief.
Nice.
He's going to give him some relief.
There
Good
you
one.
Go.
Good accidental joke.
Hey, you know what? Sometimes they just come out. That said, let's also discuss our wild card picks. In the National League, I picked the Cardinals and the Giants. Like I said, the Giants not going to hit that one. The Cardinals currently 4th in the wild card fight. Diamondbacks and Rockies leading that, so could be wrong there. Haddix had the Mets and the Giants. He's even worse off than I am, as the Mets are 7th in the wild card, and of course the Giants are nowhere near it. And Hougie, you had the Dodgers and the Marlins. The Dodgers are going to probably win their division, so that Diamondbacks pick you have, it looks like you've got 2 of the correct playoff teams there. Of course, the Marlins are 6th in the wild card hunt right now, so not sure we nailed the wild card too strongly there, but it wasn't horrible either.
Once again, I only reason why I picked Dodgers for a wild card, like you said, is because I said I thought the Diamondbacks would take. So I said the 2 top NL West guys would make the playoffs. So
right.
That's at least good. And yeah, well, and once again, I'm going to pull a you and be like, well, the Marlins are 2nd in the East. I'm going to pull your Mariners.
Hey, you know what? It is what it is.
Sure.
In the American League, I had the Astros and the Orioles. Of course, the Astros winning that division. But my Mariners pick, who I had having win the division, they're 3rd right now in the wild card hunt, 2.5 games back. It's a lot tighter in the American League for the wild card, so a lot can happen there. Haddix, this is where Haddix, he basically nailed all of his division winners. Assuming the Red Sox take it back, he's looking really good for division winners. Where he's not is his wild card, as he chose the Rangers and the Blue Jays, who are currently 8th and 9th in the wild card hunt and not looking like they're going to go anywhere. So Haddix, like I said, he's our baseball specialist, and he showed it with his picks this time around, with the exception of the wild card. And Kyle, you had the Orioles and the Yankees. Of course, the Yankees winning the division right now. If they don't, they look like they'd be a good wild card pick. Orioles sitting there 4.5 games out, so anybody's ball game there with the wild card picks. And then quickly, let's run through our National League Championship Series. Haddix had the Cubs and Dodgers, which is very possible, and he had the Dodgers winning and going to the World Series. So that's looking pretty strong right now. Hoagie, you had the Cubs and Nationals. Of course, those are 2 of the best teams in the National League, so you're looking pretty good there. You do have the Cubs winning and returning to the World Series. And I had the Dodgers and Nationals, which looks like the best combination at the moment. I do have the Dodgers winning and going to the World Series. So Haddix and I picking the Dodgers, you picking the Cubs. We all look pretty strong on our National League picks and potential National League champions.
Yeah, on paper, I think we didn't look like fools, at least.
Right. And that said, in the American League, Haddix and I picked the Indians and Red Sox, which very possible. The Astros, of course, are a team that could look to be favorites at this point. Hoagie, you had the Indians as well, but you picked the Orioles, so you're going to need some wild card love from them.
I keep trying to think to myself, like, why do I love the Orioles so much?
To be fair, this is where the quote that I have written down said, "That's my Penske Oil well-oiled machine team of the year, the Baltimore Orioles." So much like your Royals pick last year that faltered, your Orioles team this year, if there's one thing we can do, it's when you find a well-oiled machine to stay far away from them.
I'll say this, you'll be hearing from me on the social medias when the Orioles find a way to creep into the wild card.
There you have it.
Don't sleep on the Orioles, that well-oiled machine.
And just to repeat our World Series prediction from the preseason, I had the Indians versus Dodgers. Of course, my homerism, I'm picking the Indians to win it all. Hougie, you had the Indians-Cubs repeat with the Indians winning this year. And Haddix has the Dodgers and Indians, picking the Dodgers to win it all. So I got to say, Haddix picking the Dodgers to be World Series champions during the.
But we're not going to get on him about picking a California team. But yet I think a California team is doing well, and I'm the homer.
Hey, I'm just saying.
He's more of a Benedict Arnold than I am. At least I was living there.
Well, you know what? Haddix picked the Dodgers, and they look like the best team in baseball. So, he might not be here to say it, but he really is our baseball specialist, and the fans, missed out having him here today on our Pseudo short.
How dare he pick with his head and not with his heart? That's all I'm saying.
That's Haddix for you. And that's going to be it for us. Do you have any final thoughts or messages or comments about the baseball season so far that you want to make a comment on?
Did anybody see? I will give the Yankees all of the credit in the world. One thing that I'll always say, as much as they spend a ton of money, they are one of the best at finding good talent as far as in their farm system. I don't know how they find these people. I don't think anybody even spoke the words Aaron and Judge next to each other. And yet here we are with, an MVP caliber candidate on their team, like his rookie year. And he's like a man among boys. He's like Paul Bunyan up there. I never saw that coming. It's really, really impressive, and it's good for baseball. It's good for baseball that we have another, and once again, he's a rookie. But it seems like he really is transcending a bit.
37 home runs currently. I mean, that's absurd.
And he's doing it effortlessly. Like, I mean, I watched him during the home run derby, and
and they're monster home runs too.
Yeah, like you always think like, oh man, like hitting home runs requires like, at least a decent amount of strength and good contact with the bat. And it just seems like this guy just stares at a ball and it goes into the stands. Like it's insane. And like I said, it's really good for baseball. Baseball has always been kind of one of those sports that, it really desperately needs some flair, some prolific playing. You have your Mike Trouts in the world and your Clayton Kershaw's of the world and stuff like that, but you just don't have like what people will talk about being like the next superstar. And this guy, he looks the part completely, and it's great for the game of baseball.
Yeah, can't argue anything that you just said there. In fact, I meant to comment about Aaron Judge when we talked about the Yankees, and it slipped my mind, so I'm glad you brought it up there. It's worth noting Judge, of course, was drafted by the Yankees in the 2013 Major League Draft, 32nd overall, and it was by a pick that the Yankees received as a compensation after they lost Nick Swisher to the Cleveland Indians. So
is that our fault?
Well, it was like a compensation pick. So in some ways, yes, you can thank the Cleveland Indians for signing Nick Swisher. Of course, I don't think he was re-signing there anyways, but yeah. That's how Nick Swisher helped the Yankees acquire Aaron Judge. And I don't think there's a better way to end the podcast than with that statement right there.
I agree. I mean, it's good to have Nick Swisher mentioned on any podcast.
Absolutely. So that's going to do it for us, our short. As always, it looks like yet again we just nail all of our sporting picks. So really, where are you guys listening to any other podcast when it comes to picking championship type teams?
We're nailing it. I mean, we're as far, if you want your one-stop shop for all things sports, especially things like baseball, where we are just seriously the best at, look no further than the Pseudo Nerd podcast.
Absolutely. And next week, look no further to us for our SummerSlam picks as we break down and preview the upcoming 2017 SummerSlam extravaganza for the WWE.
The biggest party of the summer, the biggest whatever they're going to call it this year.
Correct. From the shores of Lake Erie, I am Josh Kiser, and he's Kyle Hoagland, and we will see you guys next time.
Oh, was that different? Anyways, have a good Friday, and see ya.